Good afternoon, St. Johns County. Thank you so much for the last episode of Inc. Live during this COVID period. We've got some great Inc. staffers all in front of us. How's everybody doing? Hey, guys.
Hi, Davey.
Got some two superstar teachers that are with us, too. We've got Julie Hayden from Freedom Crossing.
What?
And we got Mia Barr from Pacetti Bay. How's it going, Mia?
Great, doing great.
Awesome. Well, everybody participated in the Inc. annual strategic planning session last Friday. It was very dynamic meeting. It was probably one of the best Zoom calls I've ever been on. How inspiring was that?
It was awesome.
Totally. Yeah, that was a good call. Great call.
Awesome. So we're going to lead off today. We're just going to do some interviews with all of you to see how that strategic planning session was. Mr. Wheeler, how you doing, sir?
Good. How are you today?
Doing awesome. Could you tell us during that meeting, what is the one takeaway that you can report to the audience that you got from our meeting?
Well, I thought broadly the collaboration of all the folks that participated was a great opportunity for us to hear some ideas that we might have never thought of. And in particular, I thought there was a lot of discussion about finding new ways to make our efforts happen. We've obviously struggled with not being able to have in-person events and stuff like that, and so I think our board and our other supporters and our staff are all committed towards working towards new ways to keep the work we do supported and at the forefront, and that's really exciting.
How do you think that what you learned from Friday is going to impact Take Stock in Children?
Well, I think, last Thursday, the night before our board meeting on Friday, we had our graduation event. And I thought even then we tried a lot of new things that we've never tried before because it's what the situation dictated. And so I think just like we've talked about in broad strokes for the whole Investing in Kids Education Foundation, I think we'll have to apply some new tactics and some new ways to still support the kids in our program, which is what we're here for.
It was awesome, and that graduation was absolutely inspiring. It got us out of our houses and actually, try to get back in there safely, which was great. What is the one new positive that you've learned about yourself during this time period?
Well, I think anytime you're challenged with trying new things, you learn some stuff about yourself. We particularly, Allie and I worked a lot with our students virtually, much like our teachers were asked to do. We were having 2 and 3 virtual meetings a day with small groups of our students all throughout that fourth quarter of the school year. And we actually saw results from it. So that's exciting. It ended up that almost 90% of our students actually have better grades in the fourth quarter than they had in the third quarter with our high school kids. And that's really exciting. And a lot of it was just talking through stuff and keeping things on the forefront. We had an opportunity for every one of our students to come into one of our small group sessions every week during the last 9 weeks of the school year, and we had attendance at a little over 85%. So we were having interaction, and our volunteers were coming on too. And that was really exciting. And quite frankly, we may still have to do that, even if hopefully the schools open back up full tilt in August and the teachers are able to do what they're so awesome at doing. I think our volunteers and our parent volunteers and folks like Allie and myself, we're probably going to have to move towards some hybrid model just because the teachers have got a lot to do. They did awesome work in the fourth quarter, but there's a gap that, quite frankly, the teachers are the professionals that'll be able to help our students catch up and make up. So we think we're pretty certain we're going to be continuing to do virtual work, and I feel a lot more confident that we're going to be able to do that.
So, Mr. Wheeler, during this time, you've had a lot of Zoom calls. You've been with a lot of children on Zoom calls. Did you have a song that like motivated you throughout the day? Is there anything catchy that we should know?
Well, I don't think anybody that knows me, Davey, would call me Mr. Creative. So I'm not going to own a song, but you did ask me to think about that, and I think I started thinking back, and I'm older than some other folks here on the screen. So I went back to the Beatles, and I'm sort of thinking that what's coming up really works towards "Here Comes the Sun" from the Beatles in the 60s, because it's going to be all right.
Love it. I love it. All right. Well, Mr. Wheeler, I'm going to turn this back over to our great Tools for Schools director, Allie Breger. How you doing, Allie?
Fabulous. And you?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for asking. So what was your one takeaway from our annual meeting?
You know, I know, of course, all of my Inc. mates, and we chat regularly, but in the format of everybody presenting to our board where they are now, it occurred to me that we're a very dynamic group, and that we're able to spin on a dime and make things happen and continue to serve our population. And that was really encouraging, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that everybody owned their program and said, listen, we can tweak it out this way and we can still be there for the teachers and the students. And that was great to hear.
Cool. Yeah, it was great to hear. It was great to see the energy and everybody kind of we had our own little breakout sections. How do you think what you learned Friday will positively impact our great big launch that we're going to do for Tools for Schools in the beginning?
Well, I mean, I guess the biggest impact is that chances are pretty good the program is going to look slightly different. But I feel confident about it, and I feel good that we're still able to provide. Just given the possibility that there's some kids still doing some online learning, and I like that we're able to shift and still be there and still do what we do best, but that we're able to make some changes and still serve.
Awesome. What is the one new thing that you learned about yourself, whether it's professionally or personally? This is such a different time period. So what did you get?
Well, I'm still a techno idiot,
No,
but I'm
not.
less of a techno idiot. So like this type of thing, I'm more of an in-person kind of meeting girl, and that I really didn't have experience with this style of talking to people and having group sessions like this. But I like it. I like that I have no shoes on right now, and I can pet my dog and still chat with you guys and still accomplish things. And so I did learn that I kind of like this meeting platform, and will probably continue.
So, you're a music maven, and obviously music has always been in your life, and, executive director of St. Augustine Orchestra. That's correct, right? Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So with music probably is a good crutch for you, or is something that you use all the time. Is there like a song that sticks out in your mind?
That is probably the hardest part, because there are too many songs for me, and a lot of the stuff I like is not like completely mainstream. I mean, I'm the girl that goes running on the beach, but I'm listening to classical music. I'm listening to Slavonic dances and stuff, and singing and conducting while I'm running. So actually, Shostakovich, Finale, Symphony No. 5, you got to look it up. It's incredibly dynamic. It's Russian music. It's strong. It says, "I'm here. Hello."
Ooh.
That's like my favorite ever.
I love it.
that.
I love it. Folks, we're heading over to Mary Alice, who's our director of FLY, 5 Learning Years. Mary, how was that meeting on Friday for you?
I loved it. I so appreciated getting the teachers' feedback on everything, because I usually don't get to do that directly, which was so nice, and obviously a huge help, like it always is. And what I took away from the meeting was how important it is to have different venues for accessibility for students. And there's different venues to do that, and there's some are better than others, and that's what we're trying to figure out, but how crucial that's going to be in the days going forward.
Yeah, and how do you think that that's going to impact Fly? Is there like some pivots that you're going to have to make with students this year?
Yeah, I mean, I love it because I think it means more sustainability for the program. Even when, you know, if I'm gone or new people come in, there's a record of what we do. It could be accessible anytime once it's all up and running. And kids, it actually would allow us to invite more kids in who want to view it, even if they don't technically test into the program. So it's just another opportunity to learn. So I think we'll keep that always.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And did you learn anything different about yourself during this time period?
I did. I mean, I always knew that a big part of my job, like, you know, grant writing and communicating with my teachers and planning could be done from anywhere. I did miss going into the schools and being able to observe the students and that part of it. But I also learned it's going to look differently. Like, you can do it, but my hours were never set. Like, I don't sleep very well. So, you know, 2, 3 a.m., that was a good time for me to get work done. And so in some ways it's nice because you have the flexibility, but in other ways I found like, wow, you could really just be on 24/7 if you allowed it.
Yeah.
So for me, that's kind of what I took away. Like, I definitely would have to set parameters for my, you know, myself if it was
But that
long.
flexibility, that's
But I liked that for
Yeah.
sure. I liked that. So
I love it. So
Yeah.
any music that sticks out in your mind that's like the one defining song?
well, sure, of course. Some of you may or may not know. I have one daughter just graduated from college, and my other son's in college, and they both came home unexpectedly. And then I have a 15-year-old son, and so I said "Our House" by Madness because that's what my house is like now. 4 pets, big kids. Kev's working from home. I'm working. I mean, total chaos. It's always a mess. You know, it's always loud. Jim, it's my dog's barking. I mean, that's my life. And also, I Will Survive.
That's a great one.
That's a good
There was
one.
actually a really funny thing, and I'll have to send this to you, is a teacher is teaching her class, and her husband would sit at the end of the kitchen table, and he'd be working too via
Yeah.
Zoom. But he would dress up as a superhero every day without her realizing it, and the class would be like laughing in the background, like your husband's Batman, or you know.
I love that. I love that. I have to tell Kev to get on that, you know.
That could be really funny, yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Well, our Southern Belle over here in my top right-hand corner, our Tinkerbell, Lady Deborah Kennedy in the house. How are you, my love?
Hey everybody, I'm fantastic. Everything is going really well.
And you've done a great job keeping us all together with all of us floating around and kind of being the nucleus, finding some
I love it.
amazing
I
hidden
love it.
gems
Give
out
me
there.
something to organize. I love it.
Doing great. So tell me about what your takeaway was from Friday's meeting.
It was really wonderful to see the group work together. And really, my takeaway was that we have so many talented people that are going to be difference makers going forward. And we're really going to be impactful more and more. That, I mean, usually I'm just in the background. I don't usually, you know, am a decision maker of any kind. I just like to pull all the pieces together and make it look pretty. But
One of the projects that you do, that you and I do together, is our teacher talk. Remember, like we
Yeah.
at the airport. So do you think that that's going to maybe evolve to maybe more of a virtual session, or what do you think? How do you think that's going to be impacted?
I think it's going to be more virtual, and I think also that these teachers, we are being reminded, are great idea makers, and that they're going to be a great resource for us to know where to go forward, because they're fearless. They're fearless, and they will
Great
take on
word.
a challenge in a heartbeat.
And creative, yeah, absolutely.
So creative.
So what did you learn during this pandemic about yourself? Anything sticks out in your mind?
Well, the one thing I learned about myself during this time was not only that, my health is very critical, and I want to make sure I do myself proud by taking care of myself, but that I need to talk to myself a lot about being positive. I want to be positive, just like Donna said. And I crank up Pharrell Williams' song Happy all the time. I sing it all the time. I love that song.
Good. It makes you happy. Kind of gets you in a groove.
And I just dance around the house. I love it.
That is super cool. Well, oh, your Miss Hayden is next to me over here. How are you, Julie?
I'm doing just fine. Peachy. Peachy.
How did you feel about your first Inc. board meeting?
Oh my gosh, I loved it. I just like being surrounding myself with like-minded people, and we're all here for the kids. And we're looking at what's best for the kids, what's best for the teachers and the families. And the one thing I walked away from was just, we got to continue to be flexible, because this is a new normal and not everyone knows what to do. There's not a handbook for this. So we just need to keep that open mind and be flexible with what's going to happen today, tomorrow, 2 weeks from now. So just keep that open mind. And I always think about when you're at the airport and your flight's delayed because of weather, and people yell at the flight attendant people. It's not their fault. This is not anybody's fault. So you have to be patient with people. And I mean, we're all on edge. People are this new normal. Sadly, this is a new normal for however long. So just being flexible is what I took away.
And putting that patient cap on, I like that statement.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think that Friday's meeting from Inc. Do you think it's going to positively impact your classroom in any way? Do you see a good connectivity there?
I do. The only thing of course I want to be in a brick and mortar with my students, because I'm first grade teacher, but when they come into school, they're still kindergartners. So they're babies. They're my babies. So that's just a thing that I have to wrap my head around. And plus I have my daughter who's the rising second grader. So I see it from her side. And I was part of the focus groups with the district as well last week, and they're putting a lot of emphasis on social emotional learning at this time, which is fantastic for these kids, because it's going to be 5 months before they're actually inside the building, if we can go inside the building. So I know with her, she struggles. When we first stayed at home, she thought that her friends didn't want to see her and didn't want to talk to her and come over. And, having to explain that, no, they want to. So we've had a lot of FaceTime play dates of Barbie dolls and things like that. So I've seen it from the parent point of view, and also the teacher, point of view. So it's been interesting.
Hey, do you already know who your students are going to be for next year, or not quite yet?
Oh, no, they're still doing placements.
So would you, are you going to hype up your students in any way? I know I'm asking you a wild card question, but are you going to do anything some sort of get them ready, even if it's just all virtual? Let's just hypothetically say it is.
So the way our school works, because we are such a growing school, we're getting people registered at the day before school. So we get our class list the day before open house, the meet the teacher happens. So I really don't have a lot of time to amp up and do something, but for sure the second I get my students' names and information, I will, we have to think outside the box and connect with them, because we all know the first 2 weeks of school and every day is that relationship building, and that's, as much as we build relationships on these Zoom calls, it's not as effective as being next to someone and feeling their energy. So that's going to be an interesting time if we have to go to the distance learning at the beginning. But my fingers are crossed that we're going to be at a good time and start the brick and mortar plan and get to see those babies, even if it's the first month of school, and then you can handle it. But they're babies. They're still they're fresh out of kindergarten.
Well, Julie, you are known as a rock star for Inc. and our foundation and all over the St.
Oh my God.
District. What song sticks out in your head that defines you as a great, awesome teacher?
Oh my God. So, I thought about this and I was I don't have one song, but my students last year, we created a playlist that we would play all the time. So I figured, let me just name off a few of them that we did, and this like get your day started. We had Brave, Fight Song. Of course, we had Old Town Road, the Kids Bop version. Please know these are all Kids Bop versions. Hair Up, because our hair is up when we're stressed out, so that's another good one. Probably go with the Kids Bop Shake It Off version.
Love it.
Kids Bop to the rescue.
That was so good. So we have another great teacher, Mia. How are you today?
Yay, Mia!
Fantastic.
Thank you so much for being here, and thanks also for Friday for showing up. I know your breakout session was really, really impactful. Tell us a little bit about it. Tell us what's a good takeaway that you learned about our foundation.
The thing that I already knew it, but seeing the whole presentation from beginning to end, it really just hit me in a different way. The passion and the impact of the Inc. programs and how much good they are doing for our students, for our teachers, and for our community. I mean, I just wanted to say, yes, like, keep pouring your heart into it. Keep pivoting. Keep doing what you're doing, because these kids need you. Our teachers need you, and our community needs you. So I was just, I was like, go Inc. after that breakout session.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Thank you, Mia.
Oh my God, she couldn't have said it better, Mia. That was
100%.
beautifully said. 100%. Sorry.
Do you think how is this going to Inc. will positively impact your classroom next year?
One of the best ways that Inc. will impact my classroom is through some of the talk sessions and the teacher trainings that we've had. And some of the things that they've taught me to do in my craft and things like that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Just kind of inspire you and just keep the fire going. And if there is a resource that you need, you know who to call. We'll dip right in and figure it out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So during this time period, I mean, you've got a pretty full household, and I know that everybody kind of works together for the end common goal. Like, you have a very progressive, awesome household. What is one new thing that you learned about yourself during this time period?
I'm kind of like Mary Alice. I had to tell myself to turn it off sometimes. Like, I love my students. And so when they would call me at way late in the evening, I would be like, sure, I've got 5 minutes for you. And then, 30 minutes later, I was like, I've got to go. This is my family time. So I just had to learn to, and it's hard because these kids, when they want to do something right, they want to put in the effort, and you want to be there to help them. So I did have to learn to kind of turn it off a little bit.
Kind of turn it off and turn it up with some music. Did music inspire you at all? Was there one song during this time period that you were like, yeah, that's my go-to?
Well, yes, actually, because we have one of those we call our Alexa the robot. We have a robot in the family room, and every morning, without fail, one or the other kid would play Sunday Best from Surfaces, and it just became my jam for all of fourth quarter. It's like, hard things happen. We're gonna mess up, but we're not gonna stress out about it. We're gonna shake it off, and we're just gonna be happy. So that was my jam for fourth quarter.
That's awesome. Totally going to get that song this afternoon. Thank you. I want to all change our great executive director, Donna Luders, who was our leader during this time period. I mean, always our leader, but specifically this was a tough time for Inc. to really pivot, really learn Zoom calls and make things efficient. So Donna, talk to me about your views on Friday and what you thought, how the meeting went.
Davey, I was just so inspired by the level of engagement, more so of our board. We hold these meetings once a year, and they're always in person. And I was very apprehensive about being on a virtual call with board members. because I thought, well, they'll be busy and they'll be distracted, and their work will interrupt, and they won't be giving us their undivided attention. And I was just totally blown away because they were all so engaged and really, really wanting to help us succeed. And and having the teachers on the call too was just so inspirational for us all, because I think it helped bridge that gap, why we do what we do. So I was just totally re-energized.
Do you see like a lot of committees or board meetings? Do you see that kind of evolving to a virtual, since it was a successful thing that happened?
I absolutely do. And I think, one of my biggest takeaways from this is, the virtual meetings, the way they save time is immeasurable. Because we all have busy if and we're asking these executives to take time out of their day, to help and guide us. But then, if you factor in an hour drive time one way or the other, or sometimes both, that really puts an undue hardship, I think, on a lot of people. And by doing virtual meetings like this, we're able to really get to the point, get to the issue at hand, make that decision, and be able to move forward.
Awesome.
And keep a huge momentum going.
So with going through all of this, what's one thing that you learned about yourself, either professionally or personally, about going virtual and connecting with people?
I'm a people person. I like in-person connectivity. I do miss that tremendously. I think I was always kicking and screaming going virtual. And as a matter of fact, I think all the team except me, I was still at the school for like 3 weeks after everybody else had left, until finally the principal came to me and said, "You gotta go." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So, I packed up and I came home, but I love it. It's with like me and Mary Alice, it's really finding that time to stop and make that division between work time and family time. That's been a hard lesson to learn.
Yeah, that's awesome. So being the music aficionado that you are, and you totally are, you're so immersed in the local scene here in St. Augustine. We're known for having some great local bands. What is a good song that that's my go-to, I love it, let me pump it up in that Jeep? Like, what's a good song?
Well, this was the hardest question ever that you can ever ask me, because I can't really pinpoint just to one song. One of my ultimate favorites and one of my heroes of my lifetime is Stevie Ray Vaughan. And he does the song Life by the Drop. And I mean, you just take it one drop at a time, one step at a time. And then one of my other ones is Robert Earl Keen has a song that's called Feeling Good Again. And just how everything just comes together and clicks, and you see people that you don't normally see, and you reach into your pants thinking you don't have $1 and you come out with money, and just that resounding, I'm going to be positive and things are going to work out the way they're supposed to be. Absolutely. Everything happens for a reason. All we have in control of is to be kind. And if we're kind and we're a strong foundation, we're definitely going to get these resources out to students and teachers. So thank you. Well, folks, this ends our Inc. Live segment. Super proud to be a part of this foundation, and we have some incredible ideas. That's our pivot for next year, but our pivot is strong, it is fierce, and it's inspirational. So with that said, our future is bright. We have to wear some shades out there, St. Johns County. Everybody put on those shades and wave and say, "Here we go, Inc." We will see you July 1st. Woohoo! All right. Good team. I believe in you. We're going to do this, guys. Great job.
Awesome.
See you guys later. Great job.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.